Well, hello, ladies, gentlemen, whoever one of you identify as. Welcome back to the Shed of Dread, and welcome to New Who Series 5. And we're now into the Matt Smith era. As always, I'm joined by John the White and the Golden Age Geek. Hello, gentlemen, and how are we today?
Hello, everybody. Oh, that was a bit of a rough materialisation there. We had to give the console a bit of a kick behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a little bit patchy, wasn't it?
We're trying out a new
theme.
A new host, aren't we? A new streaming host. Yes, we are. We're now on EvMux as opposed to StreamYard tonight. Yes, it's so much better in lots of ways, apparently. So,
apparently so. So yes, it says.
Yes. Now we've got over our nerves and it's actually started. And of course, we've also got Golden Age Geek with us.
Yes, I think. I'm not sure.
He may not be in his chair right now. Okay, well,
are you there? Are you there?
He's with us in spirit.
Hello.
He's there. Yes, he's alive. Yay!
So welcome. So here we are. It's 2010. No, it's 2011. No, it's 2010. It's 2010. Yes. And it's a brand new era. And with Geronimo, David Tennant became Matt Smith. And now we're in the what happens next.
Yes, indeed.
But before we start talking about Series 5, I have a question for both of you.
Ooh. Go on then.
Do you remember a time when Doctor Who achieved both record ratings and record critical awards in the same year?
Oh, apart from this particular one we're going to talk about, you mean?
Because this was when that was still happening.
Oh, it was indeed. In Bucky.
And right. I mean, I've made some comments in recent days, particularly about how fandom as a whole right now should be a little bit cautious about the challenge ahead of Doctor Who being a success on Disney Plus.
Indeed.
But this series 5, this is when Doctor Who broke out in America like it hadn't done since the 1980s. This was when Doctor Who got big in the States. Matt Smith's first series. And from this point onwards, it was a slow coast down until we got to the disaster that was Legend of the Sea Devils.
Yes. Indeed.
So, yes. But this is a historic time. This is a time when the show was really on the up and really breaking new ground, breaking into new territories and becoming an international success.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so this was a special time for us Doctor Who fans. And a nervous time as well.
Of course.
With good reason.
Yes,
with
indeed.
Good reason. But that's how it was when we all sat down in front of our sofas and turned on the television on the 26th of June, on the 3rd of April, 2010. Yeah, 3rd of April 2010. And I remember that night well. So let's start off. So I'd want to know all about the 11th hour, and I know who's going to tell me because it's Golden Age Geek.
Yes.
So, judging from the comments already, I think I'm going to have a very different opinion of Series 5 in comparison to most people.
That's fair enough. Carry on. Go for it.
Take it away.
So we'll go through. Run down the plot of the episode, and then we'll dive deep into afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So the episode begins with the newly regenerated Doctor just spinning out of control throughout London. The TARDIS has been blown up because of the regeneration energy. Matt Smith is on the edge of the TARDIS outside. He's almost gonna get his private parts knocked off by the top of Big Ben. Fortunately for him,
it was close, wasn't it? Nearly killed him for 2 minutes of regeneration. That was unfortunate, but no, he got away with it.
And then he crashes in Amelia Pond's garden, and we see them meet each other for the first time, and she's absolutely shocked because this mystery man is just fallen out of the sky, and of course, we don't even know who he is at this point. He's still the Doctor, but of course he's going to be a very different character. And when he leaves the TARDIS, we see he's more sort of whimsical. He's a bit more goofy in comparison to the more sort of dark and brooding David Tennant. And we have a weird montage where Matt Smith's Doctor enters the house and he's trying to find out what he likes to eat. So we have a very gross scene where he's spitting out beans and just that's just gross.
It's not right, is it?
But he finally settles on fish fingers and custard, which has become its own iconic thing amongst Doctor Who fans. It's very strange.
Weird. I'm never going to touch fish fingers and custard. It ain't going to happen.
I've seen videos on YouTube of Doctor Who fans in
No, stop it.
Couldn't you use Twinkies and kind of fake it?
Oh, no, even that. No. No, it's just not right. It's not normal. But it is the Doctor, so carry on.
And Amelia informs the Doctor that there is something mysterious hiding within a crack in her room. So the Doctor, obviously, he's very intrigued by this. He loves the mystery. He loves the extraterrestrials. So he takes a look, and we find that there's a gigantic eyeball behind her room. And so the Doctor runs back to the TARDIS, and he promises that he will be back within 5 minutes. But of course, that doesn't exactly go to plan, because
Not
he comes
really.
back. I don't even know how many years it's. It's easily over 10 years.
10
Yeah.
or 12 years, something like that, yeah.
It's supposed to be 12 years, I think, isn't it? She's gone from child to grown up.
Yes.
In a stripper costume.
Well,
So
of
she's
course.
definitely 18.
Yes.
And she was like 6 before. So it is, I think it says it's 12 years.
Is it 12?
in
Yeah, I
the
think it is
episode.
12 years. Yeah. Sure it is. Yes, carry on.
Or
And
it
so
could
the
be 11
Doctor-
years. 11 years would kind of make sense.
Something like any case.
Since the 11 obsession,
11 to
you know,
12.
yeah.
We'll just go for 12.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Carry on.
And the Doctor materializes again, and he runs into the house. He's figured out what this alien is, and he gets battered over the head by someone with a baseball bat. It turns out that it's Amelia. She's grown up now, and this entity forms itself into a man with a dog, and it's a very weird looking, sort of entity, because this dog and this man sort of have a symbiotic relationship. Everything that he does, the dog does. It's very eerie, and they manage to escape and they run off. And it's announced that the gigantic eyeball is sort of the warden of a prison, and this mysterious alien has escaped from this prison, and the gigantic eyeball is going to come back to the Earth. The Atraxi, yes, Sadako correctly informed me there.
There we go. Don't eyeball me, Atraxi.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Go.
Yeah. Giant eyeballs. Absolutely. Prisoner Zero has escaped.
And after this, we get to learn a bit more about what Amelia has been through in the time since she last saw the Doctor. We get introduced to Rory and him at the hospital, and that sort of links well with the plot as well, because all the patients seem to be acting very suspiciously. They too are mimicking the actions of the man and the dog. There is, of course, as I say, some sort of link there. So the Doctor takes the laptop, and of course, I mean, this always happens. It happened in series 1 as well. He taps a few keys on the keyboard, and somehow he's taken control of the entire internet, and he's contacting everyone from China to Russia, getting all the governments together to talk to him to find out how the hell they're going to stop this. And
That really is some backdoor keyboard commands for Doctor put into Windows, isn't it?
Just a little.
I mean, Mickey was able to launch nuclear missiles from his 2005 Dell laptop, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
I guess so.
You always want the Pridonian Time Lord's login details, that's for sure. Hail Agent Zero.
Yeah, hi, Agent Zero.
And they inform the Atraxi that this is where the alien is. They sort of give it their location. So the Atraxi makes its way to Earth, and they end up at a hospital. Amy and Rory are going there to like investigate the patients and all that, and then this main creature who's sort of like this weird snake lizard thing, and that's all we really get of its true form, which is this sort of like weird snake lizard thing, and it manifests itself as Olivia Colman and two
As
little
you would.
girls.
As you would.
So that's just especially when it's little children as well. It's very creepy and eerie when you have like little children doing these very mundane things, but you can tell that they're possessed, and it just creeps me out all the time.
Fair enough.
The Doctor wants to get there quickly, so he steals a fire engine and he launches the ladder through the window, climbs up, and he confronts the Atraxi. Not the Atraxi, the lizard, Prisoner Zero, I believe the name.
Yes, Prisoner Zero.
Prisoner Zero, yeah.
Yes, Prisoner Zero.
And, so they have a big confrontation, and we get a little tease of what's to come, not only in Series 5, but also the rest of Matt Smith era. We get a mention of the silence.
Basically, the Doctor stiffs Prisoner Zero.
Just a
puts
bit.
A big spotlight on it and goes, "Oh, Atraxi, here's your boy." And the Atraxi go, "Oh, right, we'll have you back then." Then the Atraxi sod off, and then the Doctor goes, "I'm not having this. Oi, get back here."
Yeah.
Messing about with a Class 5 planet. Who do you lot think you are? Well, I'm here to tell you something, boys. I'm the Doctor. Look me up. Now, fuck off. That's basically it, isn't it? You know?
Yes. Yes. Leaving's good. Never coming back is better.
Even better, yes. Yes. Yeah, so, I mean... If Doctor Who was regenerated to Jason Stratham, you could just imagine playing that scene.
You fuck off.
Or Michael Caine could do
Or even Michael Caine.
Well, look, I mean, this is the launch of this new era. This is an episode written to up the tension.
Yes.
As much as possible. So that every time, everything that could give the Doctor a break or give him an advantage is taken away.
Yeah.
No TARDIS, no Sonic, no time, no backup, no plan. You know? So this is the Doctor at his rawest and newest.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the idea is that we are all finding out about the Doctor while the Doctor's finding out about himself.
Yes.
You know, and in his initial meet up with little Amy, you know, and he's I don't know what kind of man I am yet.
No, he has no idea.
Just like in Christmas Invasion, he didn't know, is this a fighting hand or not? I don't know yet. You know.
Yeah.
So it plays up beautifully on the amorphous quality of regeneration.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and the whole episode is like a transitional state. And at the end of it, the new Doctor emerges.
Yeah.
And if anyone's any doubt who he is, the Atraxi know, because they've just sodded off at light speed.
Yes, yes, disappear quickly.
So,
yes.
You know, yeah, I'm here, baby. I mean, that's the whole point of the story, is this big announcement, I'm here, baby. But also, we've got setting up the mystery box elements.
Yeah.
Which were to be a much more integral part of all of Moffat's series than they were with Russell's, you know, because this crack in space-time, a very intriguing idea, a very intriguing shape, 2 points of space and time that should never meet.
Indeed.
You know, and you know, of course, the mystery of why is there this crack in the first place, it's all like a great big paradox, which we'll understand at the series conclusion. So there's a lot going on here, which is rewarding careful viewing, rewarding rewatching, and creating a deeper sense of satisfaction once the shape of the whole thing was unveiled. So this was all a big setup and opener, and you know, it just delivered. I mean, this episode consistently scores very highly, you know, with fans' opinions of regeneration stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whatever it was doing, it was certainly doing it right. Probably as right as any episode I'd done since, I don't know, Spearhead in Space.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
You know, because I mean, I think Robot was a bit more shaky. Castrovalva was a bit more
Yeah,
shaky.
yeah.
You know, Trin Dilemma is unmentionable.
Mm,
Time and Irani is barely better. You
yeah,
know, so I mean, in terms of regeneration stories, I think this one was really getting it right. And
yeah.
Moffat clearly had put an enormous amount of thought into how he wanted to introduce his Doctor.
Yes, he did
But
indeed.
also, you know, what we see from the start with this story is this change of direction.
Yeah,
In that, you know, Moffat was openly looking to embrace a more fable, fairy tale kind of storytelling over a hard sci-fi. And, you know, we see this in the opening scenes with Little Amelia. They are very whimsical, they are very fairy tale,
yeah.
you know, and turning the Doctor into an imaginary friend. You know,
Yes,
because he's Amy's imaginary friend, he becomes a myth in the imagination. You know, so it's kind of transitioning. It's almost like put one foot in the world of fiction from the Mind Robber,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that is to set the tone of everything which is to follow. You know, is to have these kind of sensibilities, and sometimes they really work.
yeah.
There's a, you know, I mean, later on, I'm going to be talking about some instances where gawky old mawkish me just like a complete sucker for it.
Mm.
You know, other times it really grates with me, and I just wish I'd pack it in. You know, so I have mixed feelings about that approach. You know, like all things, it works better sometimes than others. But here it was used it well, and it was used in the service of driving a cracking narrative, which is got everything off to a thumping start. Met Amy, met Rory, met the Doctor, set up the new era. Um, but there is also one thing from this story that constantly intrigues me as a fan, on a lore basis.
Mm.
When the Doctor remarks to Amy about her not remembering the Daleks.
Right.
I mean, series 4.5, we have Waters of Mars, where a huge plot point is about promoting. Sorry, distracted by that message from that bot.
Yes, don't worry, I'll get rid of it. I'll I'll deal with the bot.
Beep boop boop.
Yes.
I completely thrown my brain as to where I was. I was going to counterpoint the underlying surrealism of a something or other, but that's very good poetry for you. But gosh, no, brain's gone. Never mind. It was a bloody good episode. Should we give it some scores?
Yes, indeed. Let's do this.
Golden Age Geek, what do you reckon?
I will give this one an A plus.
Woohoo!
I will give this one an A plus.
Well, look, I'm just going to be completely in line with everybody else. A plus, so there.
Hey,
Yeah,
A
you
plus.
thought you were going to get any nuanced criticism there, but no, seriously though. How else could we score this apart from very highly? And what could we score it down on?
Well, there's nothing you can score it down on.
I
really.
can't. I'm going for negatives. I'm not seeing any.
No.
Unless Matt Smith's got a funny face or something. I mean, unless someone wanted to say that was a negative. I mean, that's it, isn't it? It was a bloody good Doctor Who.
It was. What I mean, what a brilliant introduction. I mean, let's be brutally honest.
I love
just
the
getting us off to a flying start with a new Doctor.
I love the ending where Amy first gets introduced to the TARDIS when she first walks inside, and you have the Murray Gold music. That, to me, and also going back to the sort of fairy tale element that Moffat tried to go with in this season, it is in a way enchanting. It very much does feel magical, and I know a lot of people criticise this fairy tale element. They kind of prefer hard sci-fi when it comes to Doctor Who, but this just absolutely wins the series over for me. And although I would say, objectively speaking, Series 4 is probably the most consistent and probably the best of New Who, I would say this series is my favourite. So I don't think it's the best. I think it's just my favourite, though.
No,
my feelings towards it are the most positive.
Yeah, it is. I agree that 4 is brilliant, but there are a lot of episodes in this
It's
particular one
interesting
I
we
like.
can have that distinction, isn't it, as to what we
Yeah.
think is the best show overall in terms of the success at delivery entertainment to a general audience, and what we think is the best show in
Yeah.
terms of satisfying us as fans. I mean, they aren't always exactly the same. So I mean that's interesting. Because I mean what you're saying is Series 5 suits your sensibilities the best, but maybe you think another series was more approachable.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. I like. As I agree with Golden Age Geek, I love the season we just covered on 4. But this one
Yes.
there are more episodes. As we've discussed in the backstage, John. There's a couple of episodes that just lock in the head.
Yeah, they do.
And they do, and you can't get rid of them. So, yeah,
But
I
is the
agree.
next episode going to be one of those? Because Moffat was straight back with another strip the following week as we investigated the beast below.
Another good one. Oh yeah, it's a good. I like this. I like the premise of this one with it's the space whale, isn't it? It's the one where they're attached to the
Yeah.
Brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant idea. Really
Well,
did
in
enjoy
New
this.
Doctor, new companion, what do you do? Well, first thing is you better take a trip in the TARDIS, and
Of
you're
course,
either
go
going to go
somewhere.
forward or backwards, and this time it was forwards.
Yes.
So we
It was
go off
indeed.
into the distant future, where we find that the United Kingdom has turned into a spaceship.
Of course.
Starship UK.
Starship UK.
And apparently there are other countries out there which are also starships. So the entire of Earth has kind of packed itself up in a big spaceship for each country and legged it. And the Doctor and Amy land and they start to investigate, but the Doctor soon starts to pick up some clues that things are not quite as they should be. And there's an undercurrent of fear.
Yes, definitely one.
A sense of hidden oppression. And what does the Doctor do when he finds that when he gets a feeling like that? Well, he damn well sticks his nose in, of course.
Well, of course he does. It's the only thing he does best.
So him and Amy, they set out to poke their nose into all of these various aspects of what's going on. They get into various scrapes. They get chased by smilers. They get menaced by tentacles coming out of the ground, and eventually they find themselves somewhere which isn't very spaceshipy at all. Because it's all fluidy and squishy and fleshy and smelly.
Very smelly.
They're in a stomach. A stomach which they get vomited out of.
Lovely. Brilliant.
And that's how the Doctor discovers that there's a very large life form underneath Starship UK.
UK, indeed.
Because it turns out that this whole spaceship is more of a wagon, really. More of a pagoda, which has been popped on top of the back of a giant space whale.
Of course.
And that this is the biggest secret that must never be told, because apparently if we found out that we'd been poking a giant space whale in the brain with electrodes to make it go, to give us engines to transport our refugee population from whatever disaster has befallen the Earth, we might all get a bit sad and have a twinge of conscience. So rather than that, people have been getting mind wiped en masse, so that nobody actually does anything about it. And the situation's been ongoing for donkey's years.
Yes, indeed. I mean, aren't we on Queen Elizabeth X? I think we're on this particular one.
Something
like that.
Yes. Liz 10. I think you're right.
That's
yes,
it. Yeah,
Liz 10.
Liz 10. Yeah, that's how far we're in the future. But no, it's
mind you, I mean, slightly predicting Meghan Markle, wasn't she, Liz 10?
Yeah, technically.
Because the ethnicity is a little bit divergent from the standard expected ethnicity for people from the House of Windsor.
It certainly was. It certainly was. Yeah, it's possible.
You know, one of those times when Doctor Who was successfully progressive, although whether Meghan Markle was successful is another question altogether.
Yeah, well,
but you know, it was fun anyway. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a bit of fun.
But you know, it comes down to this: the Doctor's got to make a choice. He's got to allow this creature to carry on being tortured, or he's got to put a stop to it, and he just can't stand to see this creature being tortured. So even though it might strand the whole of Starship UK, he determines that he's going to set the creature free
Yeah.
and stop the brain control. So they fight their way to the nerve centre of it all, and the Doctor pushes the big button, and disaster does not happen.
No.
Because it turns out the whale was going that way anyway.
Yeah, he was quite happy travelling that way.
And if we weren't a paranoid bunch of loons, we could have just not zapped it and we'd have got there faster.
Yes, because we've slowed
So-
it down.
Oh, well, one of those. Let's get it right, everybody. Good luck. End of
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
So-
next one.
I don't know. Maybe I've let it slip a little in my description of the beast below, but I'm not entirely satisfied by it.
It's not. No, it's all. It sits there. It wasn't a better one. I didn't enjoy this one as much, but
It has some, like all Doctor Who, it has some good stuff in it.
yeah, of course it does. It has bits and bobs of good things in it, and you know,
and I mean, it was certainly a great story for Karen Gillan to sort of start feeling her way into her portrayal of Amy.
yeah. So there is that. There is
You know,
that,
and she did successfully get the audience to relate to her and to care about what she was feeling. I mean, she was very successful in this story. I remember from the Doctor Who Confidential that she was nervous as all heck.
Yeah, well,
You know, I mean, the
Yeah.
pressure on her as a young actress. But look at her today. You know,
oh,
I mean,
wow, yes, indeed. Look at her. She's doing really, really well.
I mean, of all the people who've had roles in Doctor Who, has anyone been more successful than Karen Gillan, other than maybe David Tennant, at a springboard into a far more successful career? I mean, she's done brilliantly.
Oh, she's absolutely, yeah.
So
absolutely.
she's showing us her acting chops with Amy in this story.
Yeah.
I just think he's a little bit confused, and I think that it's ethically and logically, it's all a bit murky.
Yeah, it seems to get confused what it's really trying to put
It
across.
does seem to be confused about
Yes.
exactly what its most important message is.
Exactly. So you get a muddled message in the end, really.
Don't get caught in the stomach of a giant star whale.
Sort of thing.
Yes.
Yes. Kind of.
So, I mean, what about you, Golden Age Geek? What would you say on this episode? How did it strike you at the time? Were you really happy with it?
This episode isn't one of my favourites. As you say, there are moments in it, and my favourite moment I would say of this episode, the only moment that really sticks with me, is when the Doctor gets angry at everyone for making him choose whether he has to basically condemn the people or free the creature, and he's very angry because he has to make a decision, and he doesn't want to do that. He, you know, with the previous incarnation, that was about getting over power and getting through the struggles with that, and having to get over the fact that he ended the Time Lord. So again, he's been faced with the decision to have to commit basically genocide with the humans on that, or to kill the creature. And the thing that works really well with Matt Smith's Doctor is that most of the time he's very fun and goofy, but when he isn't and he does get serious, then you know he means business, because he goes super serious. And I think this episode really showed the full range of his Doctor. It showed him running about, you know, talking to the children, making them optimistic, but also dark when he needs to be.
Yeah.
See,
Absolutely.
I remember some of the press before Series 5 comes out, and they were quite questioning how effective Matt Smith was going to be as the Doctor, because they were sort of looking at what they were seeing him wearing in set photos and stuff, and can he really pull this off and all this sort of thing. There was all that kind of speculation. So, you know, over the course of Series 5, I mean, of course Matt gets to show us just how bloody extraordinary he is as an actor.
Yeah.
And that would blow all those doubts away, you know. But they both had a lot to prove. And scenes like the finale for this did give them the first chance to really get into a scene. And they were both very effective. And of course it was Amy's insight that the creature was old and the last of its kind and therefore compassionate like the Doctor.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
but showed her value to the Doctor for her perspective on life, and being able to give him a way of looking at things in a new way that led to a much better outcome. So there are those kind of lessons in there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, can I give it a B minus? But I have to say, I can't feel anything elevated it out of C plus for me. So I
Yeah.
think that's where I'm going to live with this one. I think I'm going to go for a C plus.
I'll have to agree. It's not quite good enough to get a B minus, so it's going to have to settle at a C plus. Definitely.
So I mean, that's interesting. Golden Age Geek, could you improve a C plus?
No, I'd go with that as well.
Right. So again, look at this. Your panel is a unified hive mind.
Beautiful at the moment.
Yeah. Resistance is futile. C plus. Yes.
Oh,
6
yeah.
out of 10 is C plus.
Yeah, C plus. Yes. But no, it's yeah.
Considering how highly this season is thought of, and considering we've just given the second story a C plus, it's interesting the journey it takes, because next up it's Victory of the Daleks.
Now this one's good. I like this one. I actually enjoy this. It's a good dark
Gabby
story.
likes this one.
Yeah, I like
It's
this
the
one.
Spitfires, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's all World War. It's all World War Two, isn't it? I mean, it's not going to make me excited. Yes, Spitfires with lasers.
Charlie boy to the Doctor. Charlie boy to the Doctor.
Yes. Carry on, old chap. Tell you.
Runs away.
Oh, it takes me right back to the worst. Yeah, Battle of Britain. But no, I do like. It's a good story. It is a good story. I like this one.
Mark Gatiss, coming back with a new script for the season.
Yep.
And somebody had the idea that it would be a really good time to redesign the Daleks.
Yes.
And we had a nice colourful cover on the Radio Times and everything.
Indeed.
But the basic premise of this story is, as you say, it's World War II, and the Doctor gets a message on the psychic paper, or is it the telephone? The TARDIS phone, perhaps.
I think it's the
but
phone,
he needs to hoof it back to the War Office in the middle of World War II, because Winston Churchill's got this new super weapon, and he needs to know what the Doctor thinks.
Yes, indeed.
So the Doctor turns up, and who should trundle along in some lovely camo green paint with a tray, serving tea, but our old friend, an Ironside. Sorry, a Dalek. Now, they may have got Churchill bamboozled, but the Doctor is not fooled.
No, not in the slightest.
So upon seeing a Dalek helping out the British forces in World War II, and upon seeing a single Dalek take out an entire strike wing of German bombers and so forth, he goes a bit mental. I go, Winston, what are you doing? Then he proceeds to batter a Dalek with a big iron stick, to try and get it to show that he is more than a tea-serving functionary.
Yes, indeed.
He also does this weird spin kick on the Dalek as well.
Yeah,
No
karate.
But the old Venusian karate.
Just totally frustrated with the thing. Just boot it over. Yes. But it's interesting to note that these camo Daleks are the same shape and size as the Time War Daleks as we know them. It's clearly a Time War Dalek painted green.
Yes, with some.
In
nice...
terms of its design. But after the Doctor's done his battering the Dalek around with an iron bar bit, the Dalek, of course, he's not having any of those dents. His paperwork is unfazed.
No, it's completely unfazed.
But he goes, cheers, mate. That's everything we wanted to hear. Because the Doctor's just gone on about how they're the Daleks and they're the most evil creatures in the entire universe, the children of Skaro and whatever. And the Dalek goes, Bill, that's just what we wanted. And then it cadoodles, and then the Doctor goes to chase it, and there's a Dalek spaceship. Of course it is.
Yes, because it was hiding in the moon, isn't it? Around the back of the moon. Oh.
And it turns out that inside the Dalek spaceship is a Dalek Time War device.
Yes, indeed.
Called the progenital device.
The progenitor.
And its purpose is to rebuild an entire race of Daleks. There's just one problem. The Time War Daleks have got so mutated by messing about with time that they're no longer recognisable as Daleks to the machine.
No,
So they can't turn it on.
no, because he doesn't recognise them.
Giant Dalek making factory, no on switch.
Brilliant.
So
Absolutely
what
brilliant.
can they do?
Well thought out that was.
Right,
Good
well,
plan.
what can they do? Well, they're going to have to get this stupid generative device computer to recognise they are the Daleks, and who better to do that for them than the Doctor? So they've set up this entire situation where they could pretend not to be Daleks and get the Doctor to rant at them, demanding that they accept that they are Daleks, so they can record that, feed it into a private generative device, and birth an entire new Dalek species.
Awesome.
So
Great
that's
plan.
just what they do.
That's pretty much what they did. Yeah.
Yes, and there's a whole lot of dry ice and stuff, and then out come the new multicolour Daleks.
Yes. Yes.
The drone and the scientist and the whatever the others were, because everyone seemed to forget very soon afterwards.
Yeah.
But
Them Daleks.
yeah, one of them had something to do with type, which sounded quite funky. And the other Daleks went, "Ha! We're not worthy. Indeed, you're not." Zap, zap, zap.
Which, yeah, nice, lovely.
So
Thanks for
now
that.
we've got the Daleks, and because they come back and they've got a new race of Daleks, where they better mess about with planet Earth, hadn't they? So, they're going to anti-blackout the United Kingdom so that we could get flattened by German bombs.
Nice of them. Nice of them. That very nice of them.
Just for a laugh, really.
Just for shits and giggles.
Yes.
Shits and giggles.
So for equal shits and giggles, the guy who thought he was the inventor of the Daleks, but really it turns out he wasn't the inventor of the Daleks, he was actually a robot, had also been working on a way to send a Spitfire into space.
Because you'd want to do that, of
Because
course.
he had some spare time.
Of course, yeah.
And
Think you're right.
amazingly, these designs could be implemented off the blueprint into reality almost immediately,
Amazing.
allowing a crack wing of fighter Spitfires to go up into space and engage the Dalek ship directly.
Amazing.
After which, a bit of shooting at it and taking out a radar dish, and the Daleks go, "Ooh, we don't have our no-close bonus, we're sodding off.
Yeah,
Bye!"
Yeah, adios.
And they, "See you again.
Yeah.
We're back." Doctor goes, "Ha-ha!" Church goes, "Ha-ha! We've won." And the Doctor goes, "No, we all lost.
Yes, we all lost. Yes.
We are the new race of Daleks, more powerful than before, and easier to spot."
Yes, yes, because they're not in camouflage. Yes, they're they're all nicely brightly coloured for us.
I'm being sarcastic about these Daleks, and I can't help it.
No, you just can't.
And the reason I can't help it is because they were the redesign came from the wrong place.
Mm.
It came from a place of wearing a Dalek costume being easier and less backbreakingly painful.
Yes.
Now,
health and safety at work. Yes.
while
indeed.
one can understand that the operators of Daleks would like better Dalek operating conditions, a Dalek is a Dalek is a Dalek.
Dalek, exactly.
And when you change the profile by making them noticeably taller and then putting a big lump in the back,
Yeah. No, it didn't work.
fandom did not believe in them.
Nope.
If you put
No.
an OG Genesis of the Dalek against a Series 1 Dalek, Time War Dalek against a Series 5 Paradigm Dalek, who are you going to choose? It ain't the new boy on the right.
No, it really isn't. As
So,
Sadaku calls them really well, the who ate all the pies Daleks.
well, they certainly didn't know what a jammy dodger was.
Oh, indeed, indeed.
They were
Terrible.
held up by a jammy dodger for at least 30 seconds. Well, I mean, there's different stories. Sadako said he heard it was so he could look taller than Matt Smith. The original Time War Dalek was definitely designed with a view to having the eye stalk level with Billy Piper's face.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
that was the key requirement for Series 1. They wanted that tension between Rose and the Dalek. It was very deliberately
Set that way.
set that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've heard different stories about the redesign for Paradigm Daleks, but making them easier to operate was certainly part of it. And it's also why Chibnall wanted to try and get away with radio-controlled Daleks.
Yeah.
You know, because of course, you know, the what was that thing called Resolution and
Oh yeah.
yeah, but those
Yeah.
Daleks, you know,
Them
they
things.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were just radio-controlled bits of fluff.
Yeah.
There was nobody inside pulling a plunger and making
No.
it personal.
No, absolutely not. No, there was no personality in that one.
No personality indeed. Yeah, that's a very
Yes.
good point. So you know, why Paradigm Daleks with an idea that could have, should have worked, and they might have done better if they turned out to be the big bad.
Yes.
But
indeed.
they couldn't be the big bad of Series 5 because they'd just been the big bad of Series 4.
Exactly.
So it's one of those.
Yes,
But
it was.
there needed to be more made of this concept of the paradigm. And you know, there needed to be more of an active story role for the different Dalek roles.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, if you could see that the different types of Daleks were following their own agendas, that would have made them much more interesting.
Yeah, it would
And
have.
possibly created potential for some kind of internecine thing between them.
Yeah, that would
you
have been
know,
good. That would have been good.
So, but if they just worked, nothing was done with them.
Yeah.
Frankly, nothing was
That's
done
it.
with them.
No.
So, Mark Gatiss script. Look, it's great fun, right?
Yeah.
It is great fun. You're right, and it just makes you smile and laugh. You know, it's just that it's not intelligent science fiction, not by a long shot.
No.
If you wanted to make Doctor Who pitched at 5-year-olds, this is that Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to pitched at 12-year-olds.
Mm.
I just
Indeed.
think ultimately it's too dumbed down, it's just a bit too juvenile, and it's fun, but very forgettable. But that's all my opinion. I want a Golden Age Geek, friends.
Yes, indeed.
This episode, as you say, is a fun one. I wouldn't say it is one of my favourites, but I do like the setting, the World War II setting. I always love historical settings. It always just wakes up something within me. I like that kind of storytelling. One thing I do have to give this episode credit for is that the Ironside Daleks, you know, them being featured in this episode, it actually inspired the creation of a poster I have in my room, which is a World War II propaganda-style poster with a Dalek, an Ironside Dalek, and it says "To Victory" on it. And I have that on my wall.
Nice.
And, yeah, I absolutely love that.
It's nice. That it's a good poster. I've seen that.
Well, I mean, me and Gobby are both very familiar with that poster.
Oh, it's a brilliant poster.
And you know, it is, of course, a pastiche on real propaganda posters.
Yeah, it is. It's very well done.
You might call them propaganda, but I would call that in itself subversive German propaganda because they're glorious pro-British morale-rousing public notices.
Yes.
You know, because we had a war to win. You know.
Oh, that minor
Yeah,
inconvenience of a
war
war
to
to win. Yes, yes. Slide issue. Yes, side issue.
I must admit, a few Daleks on side might have made a bit of a difference.
Yeah, just a bit.
Sorry, back to you.
Yes, back to Golden Age Geek. Carry on, sir.
The redesign of the Daleks to these weird, like, M&M Skittle Daleks, it didn't infuriate me. I think it's just something that I laugh at and sort of meme. It's not something like what we've seen with the most recent era of Doctor Who, where I'm absolutely infuriated with the change. It's something which I go, yeah, well, I mean, the writers forgot about it, really, anyway, so it's just something to look back and laugh at, in my opinion. So,
Making the Daleks colourful was not the issue.
It's the
It wasn't
size.
the
It was just everything.
It wasn't the colours.
Didn't like them.
But the size was a big part of it.
Oh, they were huge. They were massive. Absolutely massive. The colours, well, weren't the colours done in the movies? So
Yes.
yeah, so you kind of get off. But I don't know. I mean, Sadako said he did like the new voice for them. because they had two people, didn't they, doing the voices? I think, if I remember quite rightly in this one. Yeah, they had. What was the names? Can't remember the names off the top of my
Well,
head.
one of them was called Nick Briggs.
Yeah, one was Nick Briggs, obviously, but there was I can't remember the name of the other guy who did apparently Dalek number 2, and I can't remember that. You know,
We'll have to look that up sometime. Who was Dalek number 2?
who was Dalek number 2? Don't worry, I shall think about that as we carry on.
Well, I mean, do you think the story had any particular outstanding merits, Golden Age Key?
No, not really. Not like the last one. I don't think there's any memorable moments. But not for good reasons, anyway, I wouldn't say.
Do you feel ready to go for a score?
Yeah.
I'm ready to go for a score if you are, sir.
Well,
Go on then.
Here's mine on the table. D.
Fair enough. Nice. I would go C plus. I liked it because of the history, but it was a bit silly in places for me. You know, the Spitfires in space was a little bit too much of a reach.
The history was great. Without the history,
without the history,
we'd
have been struggling.
Heading towards a D minus.
Yes, we would really be struggling. So yeah.
What about you, Golden Age Key? What are you at?
I was gonna say C plus as well.
You're a C plus. I'm just going down below a C on this. I think it was a subpar effort. For its merits, and it is enjoyable as long as you can turn your brain off.
Yeah, it was.
So it depends what you want. If you want a Doctor Who where you don't have to think very much and just enjoy the pretty lights and colours, this is one to go for. If you want an episode that's going to impress somebody else, pick another one.
Yeah, pick another one. I have found out who did the second voice, by the way.
Aha!
Barnaby Edwards did voice for Dalek 2.
Well done, Barnaby.
But Nicholas Briggs did all of them bar that particular Dalek number 2.
Okay.
So there you go. There you go. Sorted that one out.
I suppose even for Nick Briggs, it's nice to have someone to play off against now and again.
Well, yeah, you absolutely. Let's be honest. So there you go. So we thought that was, so far that one was it was
so far we've got off to a good start, but things are spiralling a bit.
Yes, we're dropping a bit.
Coming into week 4, we might have a bit of nervous brown trousers as to how this series was going to go.
Yes,
but worry not, boys, because it's game on, straight in, 2-parter, Weeping Angels. Time. What's this? Yeah, what was your title? Yeah, the Time of Angels.
Time of Angels. This one was. Yes. It's the Weeping Angels.
Moffat 2-parter.
Yeah, this was good. I love the Weeping Angels. I think they're a brilliant antagonist.
I want to point out, by the way, despite how much we've just slagged Victory for Daleks, it achieved an AI of 84.
Oh yeah, people really liked it.
You know?
People did enjoy watching it.
Chibnall era would kill for an 84.
No, God, Chibnall would kill for anything other than Dross. To be
Oh yeah, sorry, brief interruption, by the way.
Yes.
Interview in Radio Times today.
Go on then.
Try not to laugh.
Oh, all right.
Chris Chibnall expects his Doctor Who stories to be contradicted.
Sorry. Sorry. I tried really desperately hard not to laugh.
The writer, who stepped down from the show last year, said it would be arrogant to expect his story to be built on or developed in the future of Who. I think you have to be very okay with you do your work on the show, do your time. The moment you step away, the moment you stop it, then nothing is in your hands. And other people will come in and contradict it and change it and alter it. That's okay. He told the Reality Bomb podcast.
Sadako, I feel so bad.
Deleted! And he knows it.
Of course he does. He's gone.
Chibnall can't lie to himself, you know. He's got that much self-respect.
Well, at least he's got some self-respect. Let's
Yeah,
be brutally
unlike the
honest.
Jersey Box, he's got some self-respect.
Some self-respect. He's admitted that in reality, as soon as he finished, everybody's just going to throw his stuff in the bin. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Right,
interested in
on
that.
to much better episodes.
Yes, indeed.
Would you like to talk us into this one, Golden Age Geek?
Yes.
Yes.
Go for it.
So
Go for
we
it.
start off the episode immediately with River Song. She's caused this guy on this ship to have a hallucination, and then we don't initially see what all this is about. We then flash over to the Doctor, and it keeps on going back and forth because there's sort of a wibbly wobbly explanation to it. So the Doctor goes to this museum, and there's this cube, and it contains a message. And I think when they decipher it says
it's a black box flight recorder.
yeah.
For all intents and purposes, yeah.
Yeah, it's a spaceship flight recorder with a message carved into the top of it in old high Gallifreyan.
And if I remember correctly, and just because it's River Song, I'm pretty sure the message is "Hello, sweetie."
And a set of coordinates, yes.
Yes.
And so she escapes this ship. She blows open the back doors and she gets into the TARDIS. And we find out that River is completely capable of controlling the TARDIS herself. Apparently, she's had lessons from the Doctor in the future. She knows. how to
She
operate
never
it.
said the Doctor taught her.
No, she said she'd have lessons.
But again, this is and this episode as well. This episode as well, I will have a lot of
The TARDIS taught her.
yeah, because that's what's revealed in Let's Kill Hitler. Apparently, she just knows because she was conceived in the TARDIS. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into that at the moment because that's BS.
That's season 6. Leave all that squelchy stuff out of it for now.
Yeah. Oh God. So looking forward to
Talking
next
of
week.
speaking of loads of like plot things that don't make sense, when we get especially into the second part, there is a lot of things I have, and I will especially criticize Moffat for his decisions with the Weeping Angels in this because I think, although I like the episode, he absolutely destroys the lore surrounding the Weeping Angels, and it's always angered me so much. But anyway, so we go on to the planet where the crashing ship was, of course, heading, and the ship has crashed into this massive cave, and we get a team of... They're dressed in military attire, but they are a member of the Church of the Papal Mainframe, which is explored in Series 7, which is where the silence, come from.
Yeah.
And they are going...
You can have religious armies, crusades. I didn't find that too hard to swallow as a concept myself, but you could have religious soldiers. But
Carry on. Oh dear.
So, as someone correctly pointed out in the comments here, let me find. Yeah, Sadako, Crash of the Byzantium, that is the event which is referred to.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether River mentions this in Silent Forest of the Dead or whether it's in a future episode. I think it's in the season 6 finale when she says to Amy, because the Doctor and River always meet out of order, she says to Amy, I've just been through the crash of the Byzantium. And they go, oh, I remember that, because of course it's something that happened in series 5, but it's in River's future, and this is also one from the future. It's weird. But,
You get me confused already. This is the only bit I like.
River's past at that point, but she told Amy about it because it's obviously in Richard's past. It's in River's past then because she's just been through it.
Oh God.
But it's in their future then.
Wibble, wibble, wobble, wobble.
Keep going. We're doing good.
So the Doctor, River, and Amy and the religious military group, they head into the cave and they start exploring it, and after a in-depth investigation it finally clicks to them that something isn't right here, and the Doctor... Well, I'm skipping right ahead. So first of all, they head into a base that's been established within the cave, and they're learning about the Weeping Angels. They've heard about these, and Amy finds herself locked within a room, that has a TV, and they've been recording a weeping angel, sort of keeping surveillance, and the camera starts getting distorted, and the Doctor at the same time is reading through notes. I think it's in River's book about the weeping angels, and of course we get the new law that's established that the image of an angel is itself an angel. So the angel comes out of the screen, and Amy's of course trying to turn off the TV, trying to stop the projection of the image. That doesn't work because the weeping angel interferes with it.
He's turning it straight back on again. It's so
Yeah.
spooky.
And I think with this episode, I think with this episode, Moffat was trying to combat the fans and their theories from when he did the season 3 episode Blink, because a lot of people naturally, when you get given a creature like the Weeping Angels, where they only move as long as something's looking at them, and then loads of people in forums and stuff said, well, what happens if you put a camera on them and then you stream it? Technically everyone is seeing it even if they aren't physically there. So then he thought, oh no, well, they can take control of the camera. And then of course people said, well, what happens if, of course, because when you stare at something for too long, the human response is you want to blink. So, well, which is quite ironic for the episode name.
Yeah, indeed.
And so Moffat said, well, if you close one eye, blink with one eye, keep one eye open, and then alternate, if you keep on staring at an angel for too long, then of course that has repercussions on you as well. And because and this is something that Moffat establishes, and I'm going to explain a bit. It is going to make no sense, and I'll say
Carry on.
Because he says if you look at the angel for too long, then it's sort of, because your eye is picking up the image, because of course your eye works from light, and then that creates an image, then the angel goes to your eye. But that doesn't really make sense, because just looking at the angel, even if it's for not an extended period of time, that is itself an image. So technically, everyone should be manifesting into a weeping angel. That's just one of the things that don't make sense with the weeping angel.
He's trying to suggest that a weeping angel is a quantum event outside the normal flow of space-time.
Well,
So they're not tied into the world of matter in the way that we are. They're not tied into the flow of time in the way that we are. They exist somewhat outside of both. And so an angel is more of an idea than a being. But when they manifest as stone statues. But that's not their real form. That's just what they look like. We know that about them. We know that there's something twisted, some secret involving Gallifrey at the very origins of the Weeping Angels. So whatever they are now, it didn't start that way. They're kind of like cursed, aren't they? To exist outside. They can't get on with anybody else because they have to exist outside the normal rules. They don't eat food and grow old and die and reproduce. They digest time and shit people out backwards, and
lovely.
They're very, very weird beings. But I want to address, if I can, some of the comments in the chat here about the military and Doctor Who.
Yes.
Matt Pounder, Moffat has attention to what military in his writing. I think all modern writers do.
Yeah.
When did you last see the military portrayed sympathetically on television? I mean, even the BBC's recent SAS series didn't manage to do that.
No, it didn't. Not really. No.
Military rarely come off well in Doctor Who, save maybe for Web of Fear, scratch back anything directed by Dougie Camfield.
Yeah.
He's showered in love of a military man.
Yes, exactly. He's got a military background. Yeah.
Seeds of Doom, Web of Fear to Seeds of Doom, anything that Dougie Camfield touched. It's good unit stuff for that very reason.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely brilliant then.
And
the military never in the new
and Sadako also mentioned Earthshot. Look, I don't think these guys come off as bad soldiers.
No. I
think the whole basis of they come off badly is that it's a really bad idea to lead a squad of men into a nest infested with weeping frickin' angels.
Yeah, it's not the best.
It's not.
Tactic, is it? Let's be honest.
It's not recommended. Sun Tzu said, "Don't do that, mate."
Yeah, yeah. That little appendium in the back of the Art of War was.
If you want someone to blame the Doctor for letting them come.
Yes. If
Right, I
anything
mean, I think
came,
he kind
yeah.
of made it. He did make it clear he didn't really want them, didn't he?
Well,
You
yes,
know,
he
but
did.
he wasn't
He
being given a lot
did
of choice
try.
because he weren't waving a lot of guns around. So
No,
you know, they asked for it per se.
per se. Yeah.
But I mean, they were no more bad soldiers than the colonial marines that brought it on Hadley's Hope in Aliens were bad soldiers.
Well, no.
You know,
They were,
bad leaders is perhaps another question when you take the freaking hammer off the guys because if they start shooting, it will start a nuclear bomb.
Well, and also to be fair, they were just slightly overconfident, which is always a bad thing.
A little bit unprepared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A little bit unprepared,
They were
lot of
Space
overconfidence.
Americans, though.
Yeah, we're Space Americans. Overconfident. Never be overconfident. It doesn't work well. It never works well when you're overconfident. But yeah.
But you know, I mean, I didn't think these guys were bad soldiers or a bad depiction of soldiers. I just thought that was a really bad situation.
There wasn't one you wanted to be walking into. No, absolutely not.
Well, I'll pick up a little bit from here, shall I? Because we are investigating this temple, and as the investigation carries on, something starts to drop because it's been bothering River, and it's bothering. Does something in the back. It's obvious they should be seeing it. You just can't see it right in front of his face.
Yeah.
And then he remembers this species, the Atlans, they have two heads.
Hmm.
But none of the statues filling this temple have two heads. They've all got one head. And it's funny, but when you look back at me, oh shit, they're moving.
Yes. Uh-oh.
This entire place is full of weeping angels that won't go to die!
Yes, indeed. And die they do.
Right, so they then get scared. Very scared. And then do some running.
Lots of running.
And then Amy, of course, having had her encounter with the television, it seems to be rubbing dust out of her eye, which is a little bit concerning, but something's going on there. So things are starting to come to a crisis. What can you do apart from fire a gun at a globe in the ceiling? Because the one thing you should never, ever, ever do with a doctor is put him in a trap.
Put him in a trap. Yes, indeed. End of part one. Great.
I believe at the time there was, when the doctor says there's one never think that you put in a trap. What's that? Me. I believe when he said that, there was an advertisement for the Graham Norton show that distorted the audio so no one could hear him at the time. There was huge backlash to that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But no, that bit when they
disrespect to Graham Norton not to be born lightly.
No, indeed.
Random responded.
Yes, we did. He learned his lesson that day, did he not?
Look,
Oh,
this is Moffat proving why he got the showrunner job.
yeah, exactly.
This is a
Agreed.
hell of a story. This is one of the most motion picture movie action thriller scripts I could really think of that New Who's managed to produce. I could see this being a film. It's very filmic.
Oh yeah, when you look at it, yeah, it is.
And it's filmed that way as well. I mean, it looks great. This episode looks great. And the opener is just, what the hell? Brain blowing, you know? Just fantastic, you know? I mean, River was working for some fans at this point, not working for others. And I think for the fans that she wasn't working with here, she would really go on to not work later.
No,
But if you're on board with River Song Drive, and this was a thrilling start to it, you know, this was her coming into this new era, meeting a new doctor for the first time with a big bang, and you know, Alex Kingston loving it.
Oh yeah,
and she's glorious, absolutely glorious. And you know, Matt and Amy building on their working relationship.
Absolutely.
You know, pulling great material out, great supporting cast, and just, you know, real tension. And this is one of the Matt Smith stories I enjoy the most.
It is good. It is good.
I do.
Yeah,
this one,
it is good.
This one I've enjoyed rewatching quite a few times. So I find it very satisfying. So shall
Yeah.
we push into part 2?
Well, should we part 2 or are we going to...
Or what, should we?
Should we do
Yeah,
a
we'll do a
score?
score. We'll do a
Do a
score
score, do a score of
overall.
part 1.
We'll do a
And
score
then,
for part 1. Okay.
and then, yeah, we'll do a
Golden
score.
Age Geek, score part 1 for me.
I would give it an A, not an A plus, because I think as we go further on, there are some especially outstanding episodes.
This is purely for part 1.
Yeah, so just for part 1, I would say A, not A plus, because again, I do have some criticisms of the lore surrounding the Weeping Angels, and I totally agree with you, John. There are certain things which you could look into the Weeping Angels and say they exist outside of our universe, that sort of thing. I just think with Moffat, and these are his creations, he seems to just be backtracking a lot and seems to just be messing up his lore, and it could make sense, but it just bothers me so much because it's never really explicitly said. It's all
I would say, as a writer, when a writer does something like that, it's because they've created something which is too constrictive.
Mm.
You know, I mean, Blink was Blink was per se a one-off, and it only became as big as it did because it came over as well as it did. You know, I mean, it had a lot of things going for it, including obviously a Stephen Moffat script. You know, so Blink was in a good position from the start. But you don't know a new monster to Doctor Who. You know, you idea, you hope it works for that one story, and then you've got to try and do something else with them. So, you know, clearly Moffat felt he had to loosen things up enough to create new dramatic opportunities. Because the rules as they were in Blink were quite strict, weren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
I get it, but you as a fan going, hey, you set up these rules and now you're not really noticing them in the same way. And I agree that compromises the effectiveness of Weeping Angels of Monsters. But I also know that as a writer, sometimes you've got no choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see where you're coming from. I can see
You
where
know,
you're coming from.
because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. And if a bit of fluff is in the way of something being fun, a bit of fluff sometimes get fluffed away.
Yep. This is true. But me personally, I'd give it an A.
I mean, entire gaming worlds have burned in a moment. For the sake of
instant.
Of a recon. You know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Wasn't there this thing called the Star Wars Expanded Universe? Do you remember that, Gobby?
I remember vaguely back in the midst of time before Disney took over that this thing did exist. Yes. I've heard rumours of such.
You know, the really irony is they can't sell any of their modern crap, so they're actually having to go back to selling expanded universe novels to make money.
Trying to, any case.
So they're trying to flog the Sid with his own stuff all over again, yeah. Should have just made his movie, you dopey. Never mind.
Yes.
Right, let's move on to part 2.
Right then.
So, this firing a gun at the globe was all about making gravity flip. Suddenly, they're standing up what would be to us upside down on the ceiling, you know, on the bottom of a rocket, and there's a hatch. Quick, get in before those Weeping Angels also work out how to get up here. Oh, we've got wings, damn it. And all the lights are going on and off. Over in the corridor. Hey, keep firing, don't stop. And everybody's in. And I think a couple of guys pop it at this point, get their necks snapped. I think they probably did. You know, and they're in this first control room of the spaceship, and they're trying to come up. Whoa! What can we do? What's the plan? And then the Doctor opens a big door, but where they need to get to is through the internal forest.
The internal forest.
The internal cyborg forest.
Of course.
So, pursued by Weeping Angels, they traverse the cyborg forest. During which, at one point, the Doctor seems to go away and then come back again and talk to Amy with her eyes closed because she's keeping the Weeping Angel inside her at bay by shutting out stimulus.
Yes.
Keeping her eyes shut. And then he has some advice for her. And it seems a bit strange that he popped back when he seems in such a rush. But then we get back on with the story. And that's in no way foreshadowing the end of the series. And then, here's the doohickey. And if we push this, all the Weeping Angels will get sucked into the sort of vortex kind of thing, which is great. That's just what we want. And woohoo, we all got away with it just.
Yeah, just.
There's not actually a lot more plot going on than that.
No, it's
all a big urgent chase with a technological fix at the end. Because the Doctor opens a crack in time and sucks the angels into it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Basically.
Which is
yeah.
a hell of a way to get rid of them.
But, yeah.
You know, and it's certainly very weird and freaky, you know, and I mean, I think that the story does that part of things really well. But, you know, that's how it is anyway. What was your view of part 2, Golden Age Geek?
Again, I really like it. And one moment that it isn't gone into like so much depth. It's there, and it's something to leave you with. Is when the leader of the military group is being strangled by the Weeping Angel, and the Doctor is discussing life, and he says to the Doctor, "Sir, you knew me at my best," which sort of makes you think, "Oh, there is more to this character." I mean, it's never going to be followed up on, but it does give you something to think about. Because he's telling us that he wasn't always like this. He wasn't always a hero who was willing to sacrifice himself. You know, so we think, oh, like, what has happened through his life to put him where he is now? So that's something that's always intrigued me.
Yeah, it's a shame we never went back to that. It is a shame, because you're right, there was something there, but we never got any further, did we, Sadler?
I mean, Big Finish will probably make him a Time Lord and make him...
Oh, yeah.
They're just insane. But, again, with the Weeping Angel thing, one thing that also annoys me, like, as I said, there were a few things in the last episode, is when the Doctor says, as long as the Weeping Angels can think... No, as long as they believe you can see them. But again, that goes against the fundamentals of the Weeping Angel, because they don't choose to appear as statues. Biologically, that is how they appear once they're observed. And that's what was stated. And again, I understand that Blink had to be restrictive to make the tension that much high, and it was set within an enclosed space. You do have to set a bunch of rules to make it that much more scary. But again, all the rules are just out of the window in this episode, and the idea that the Weeping Angels can just choose when they are statues, and also one thing that really annoys me is when we see that scene where we see the Weeping Angels move. So when Amy looks away from them, and you see the Weeping Angels turn their heads, and that's not how it should be, because the Weeping Angels can only move when they're not observed, and they're not observed right then, but they should appear in their true form, because no one is observing them. But again, they stay within the statues.
Does the fourth wall count?
No.
You know, if you're observing fictional quantum lock beings from... Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You've got to make your own mind up, really. I mean...
And even if it was the fourth wall looking at them, we are observing them, so therefore they should not be moving.
I think the thinking was that to actually see one move would be creepy, and actually I think it is. But I think it is also compromising, so, you know...
Yeah,
Here's the sad fact, boys. This is the second best Weeping Angel story.
Yeah.
And the first best was before it, not after it.
Right.
So for all that New Who talks about Weeping Angels being one of New Who's success, New Who's not done the best with them.
No. It's a shame, really, because they're...
Damn shame.
It is,
you
because
know,
I mean...
adversary.
Really
imagine if turning Jodie Whittaker into a Weeping Angel in Flux had actually been about something.
Yes. It would have been, again, missed opportunities, though, isn't it? It's always
when they do things like that, you weaken weaken the monsters that you're exploiting to do that with.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, bad habits, everybody.
Yes.
But I mean, Sadako said that he thinks part 2 is very solid. So do I. It is a very solid scripted episode. It's just that it's all a massive resolution.
Yes, that's all it is, really.
You know, the driving things forward is all in part 1, the resolving it is all in part 2.
Yeah.
So if I want to talk about the plot of part 2, there isn't much plot.
No, it's just resolution, isn't it, basically?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all it is.
But, you know, overall, just cracking story, very strong, was received really well, and totally gave a boost to Matt Smith's first series.
Yeah.
Because people who'd hang on for week 5 were hang on for week 4, sorry, were getting some serious payback. You know, they was really getting rewarded for sticking with the show past its first 4 weeks, and that's always good. So, you know, on the whole, part 2, I've got to score it highly. I mean, I think this is for show getting it right. For any issues we have with the Law of Weeping Angels, this is the show getting it right. So I'm going to go for an A for part 2, A overall.
I will go A overall and A for both part 1 and part 2. It's an A all over for me.
Right, brilliant. Golden Age Geek.
I will say A as well. I know I made it sound like I absolutely despise this episode, but I don't. I still like it. It's just the fan in me has to nitpick at these little
still
things.
happy with what you eat.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it is a very happy dose of Doctor Who. It's just that, I wish it had been a bit more like this. Or Moffat missed a trick there, or Moffat shouldn't have let that angle go. Hindsight is, of course, wonderful. Okay, so we're really starting to crack into this series now.
We certainly are.
And if really creepy stone statues weren't enough to freak you out, now it's vampires.
Vampires.
In Venice.
Indeed. Great place for them.
In 1580. So we're back to Earth and we're back to historicals. But of course, there's been a bit of a crisis at the end of Flesh and Stone.
Yes.
Because Amy seemed to be that happy to get a Weeping Angel out of her head, but she got a little bit too fleshy with the Doctor.
Just a little bit.
And he realised that he really wasn't equipped to handle Amy Pond rolled up on his own, and what he needed was her fiancé urgently.
Yes, very quickly.
So the premise of his story is all about bloody hell, Rory. Come and get me distract this girl.
Just get this girl off me.
Get him off. Get this girl off me before something happens. That would be terrible. So it's straight away. What else are you gonna do? What are you gonna crash Rory's stag do and tell him his girlfriend kissed him? Of course.
Yeah, because that's the best way to do it. That's
that's just how to get on with humans.
Yes.
But nevertheless, Rory might be a bit miffed about that, but he can't turn up the chance for a romantic weekend away with Amy, and so they all find themselves in Venice.
Not the best time to turn up, though. To be fair, was it? Really?
Just at a time.
Yeah. Middle of Black Plague.
Where impoverished families are giving up their daughters to this school, which turns out to be a bit of a school for vampires.
Just a small
school for vampires.
Small school for vampires.
Yes.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
And of course, the Doctor cottons on to all this. And what else is he going to do but investigate?
Hey, stick his nose in again.
Yes. So he meets up with an Italian called Guido, the boat builder.
Yes.
Whose daughter Isabella. He's given her up, and now regrets it. And alien vampires. Damn.
Yes.
And so it's all one of those. Gosh, something terrible happened, and we're all fleeing from the time war kind of thing, and we need to breed our babies, and we're going to do it right here.
Yes.
Despite the fact that it would completely wreck Earth's timeline and all of that. The Doctor says, please don't do that. And they go, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. So the Doctor goes, okay, then I'll have to stop you. And they goes, ha ha ha, you can try. And then he stops them and then go, oh.
Yeah.
That's essentially the plot.
Yeah.
And she gets, Mummy Vampire gets eaten by a fish at the end.
Yes, indeed, she does. She gets devoured with the wonderful A fish. Yes.
Well, this is one of Toby Whitehouse's scripts of the show. And it's got romp with a capital R in it.
Yeah,
including lots of young ladies in night shifts running around being vampires.
Being vampires and scary, yes.
So it's in a way it's a bit tropey. But it's just no ambition of them being an entertaining 45 minutes. Which, broadly speaking, it does, but I've never felt of it as a particularly wonderful story. What are your views of Vampire in Venice, Golden Age Geek?
This one has always it's always been a weird one for me because I know a lot of people. We've talked about the Beast Below and Victory of the Daleks, which are not people's favourites of this season, but this one always comes right at the bottom for me. There's just something that doesn't connect in this story. I just don't particularly find myself invested in what it's showing. So I don't really have any care for it, to be honest.
Well, it's
Just
the
doesn't do
thing
that
of
for me.
going like, aha, it's vampires. No, it's aliens, really. Contrived reason, contrived
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah,
And then over convenient resolution. You know, so
yeah,
it's not the sort of thing that lends itself to kind of making a weighty impact. It's quite popcorn, isn't it?
very popcorn, indeed. Yeah, it just doesn't. It's that padded episode in the middle of the series. It's just trundles along and it's
I wouldn't
insignificant.
even say it's padded. I mean, it's scripted well enough. It's
It's
just not
just
that interesting.
yeah, it's just meh. So there's nothing there to sort of. It doesn't stick in the head, does it? Let's be honest. It's
When
just
the show did Vampires in State of Decay,
I
you
see.
had 4 weeks
Yes, exactly.
to think about it and be invested in it, and you had time to get into it, and the show, even while it put its tongue in its cheek, took itself seriously enough that you believed in the threat.
Mm.
I think it's a problem when you have to set up a threat like a vampire and dismiss it in the same episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Although
you're going to spend half the episode undoing what you spent the first half trying to create.
this is it.
And
Although
I think this story struggles with that.
although there was a very little interesting bit with when the old Doctor does his psychic paper bit when he shows the psychic paper.
Yeah.
If you stop and look, it's actually a library card with William Hartnell on it. So
Ah.
yeah.
Well, fair enough.
It's just one of those. I watch, there's obviously people who just spend hours just doing this, and that's
Yeah,
it.
it's someone in the design department spent an afternoon making
Yeah,
that.
so when they flip it up, it's got the library card, and it's actually got William Hartnell's picture on, which I thought was quite cool.
That's
But that was about the highlight of that particular episode. It was.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we could move on swiftly from the Vampires in Venice, can't we?
Should we give it a quick
I'm
round
gonna
of scores?
distinctly average it C. It
Uh,
wasn't offensive. It just wasn't marvelous.
no.
It's watchable but missable.
Yeah,
It's very average. So straight down the line, C.
I'll give it a C minus because it wasn't that. It didn't grip me that much. How about you, Golden Age Geek?
I will say D plus.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
so
enough, yeah.
again, we're all in the same kind of ballpark.
Yeah.
Sudoku offers this piece of information. There were neurotic fans at the time who panicked that the Hartnell photo was going to alienate millions of viewers into switching off.
That wouldn't surprise me nowadays.
Not as much as the risk of Russell T Davies calling the government a bunch of murdering bastards, but yeah, it's all relative. Things we panic about. Yeah,
Yes,
things we
indeed.
panic about.
Yes, indeed.
Alright, okay, so I think chat's pretty much on the C-ish, C
Yeah,
level.
C.
No
yeah.
one seems to be bucking the trend there. No one seems
No.
to think this episode was secretly brilliant because
No,
it
no,
wasn't.
It wasn't. Everybody's
You
kind of
know,
right.
I mean, maybe if they'd made the decisions down to somebody else, like maybe made it Amy's choice, it might have been a better story.
possibly.
Because that's what we get next.
Yes, indeed, we do. Oh, great link, sir.
See,
Great
you
link,
missed
sir.
that one, didn't you?
I
You
didn't. No, I got
completely
it,
missed
sir.
that one.
No, Amy's. I got it, sir. Brilliant. Sir. Excellently worked in there. Excellently worked in
I
there.
tried. I tried.
Oh,
This story, I think, is a great standout story.
this is a good story.
Script from Simon Nye.
Yes.
And, you know, it's all about what is, or rather isn't, real.
Yes. Reality itself. Yes.
So, the story pulls you in on multiple levels as you try to work out what the heck is going on.
Mm.
As it becomes clear, this latest alien invasion threat seems somewhat surreal. And
Indeed.
over the course of things, it emerges that there's a bit of psychic pollen that's
Yes.
sucked into the TARDIS. And in so doing, created a manifestation of the Doctor's own dark side, which then becomes the Dream Lord.
The Dream Lord.
And it's this Dream Lord that basically torments the Doctor, Amy and Rory by putting them in an ever-escalatingly worse situation.
Yeah.
Until Rory, in the dream, is killed.
Yes.
He's disintegrated to nothing.
Poof. Gone.
And so it's just as well that turns out not to be real.
Yes. Fortunately.
Phew!
Whew.
Oh, no foreshadowing there.
No foreshadowing whatsoever. No.
Underneath.
No foreshadowing. Yes, indeed.
But so therefore, upon realising this, a little bit of a cleaning routine sorts that pollen out, and the Doctor, Amy, and Rory return to reality. Or do they?
Do they? Yes.
This is a very clever episode.
It's very cleverly written. This one is. It really is. Yeah, it's a good episode.
And compelling.
Mm.
And and genuinely manages to misdirect the audience as to what's going on quite successfully. And just great resolutions, just real mind-bending stuff. Something that Doctor Who does really well. Puts the characters through the paces, puts them under stress, shows us more who they are, makes us connect with them deeper. This story is doing a lot of hard work, not just for itself, but for the benefit of the series as a whole. It does it well. Great performances, great direction.
Brilliant. It is a
Good
really
script.
good episode. Yeah. Oh, you can't fault this. You really
Well,
can't.
I don't know. Maybe you can. Let's ask Golden Age Geek.
Yes. Shall we go for it?
Oh, I love this episode as well. I love the
No, you
mystery
can't
behind
fault
it, and the music as well. You know, the
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
I love that. That is that is, I love
Great
that.
mood setting. Great, brilliant bit of music.
And there are
Absolutely
a
fantastic.
few scenes I love as well, especially with the one of the villains where you have the elderly people with the lizard things in their mouth, and with the I think they're like sort of like eye stalks. It's really
Yeah.
creepy. I love it when
Creepy.
pregnant Amy and Rory are running away and they encounter an old lady who they know very well, and it turns out that she is also one of these aliens, and Rory picks up a plank of wood. And he's going, "Oh no, I can't hit her! I can't hit her!" And Amy goes, "Just whack her!"
Yeah.
That is really great.
It is. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Pension. Matthew Payne's put it. Pensioners and Zombies was hilarious. It really
It was.
It was.
But also scary.
Very scary.
It was. It's chilling.
Very chilling.
But
But,
it's the damn stuff. But it's trickery
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is fandom as a whole responded well to this at the time and is full of respect for it today.
Yeah.
Shall we scores?
Oh God, yeah. Shall we scores? Let's go for it.
Well, I'm going to slap an A on the table.
And I'm going to see your A and match an A
Let's match an A with an A.
with an
What
A.
A, Golden Geek?
I will say A+.
Oh! Plus is A.
Yeah.
One thing for me that also adds to the eeriness is the end scene where the Doctor goes to the TARDIS console and he looks at a reflection of himself in the mirror, and it's the Dream Lord, and he smiles at the Doctor, and there's this weird sort of laugh, this big laughter, like a sort of like a backtrack when it's like a very creepy Joker, like. You know,
Yeah.
like he's always there. He's lurking. He's
Never
always
gonna
within
be
the
gone.
Doctor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good. That is a good point. I remember that now. It's good.
Excuse me. We've got some sacrilege going on here in the chat. Toby Jones is too short to be a doctor, says.
Yes, apparently so. Yes. There you go.
Patrick Troutman is not impressed. Neither is Sylvester McCoy.
Well, yeah, indeed.
Because I don't think either of them are especially taller than Toby Jones.
No. Sylvester McCoy is definitely small.
I think he's acting small.
Yes.
It's the way he carries himself. He's acting small. He's trying to make himself look like that sort of small, turned in kind of creeper kind of character, just like he did in Captain America, the first Captain America movie.
Yeah, where he plays Armin Zolo.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Up against Hugo Weaving. As
Yes.
Red Skull. Great film, by the
Yeah.
way. When
That's
Marvel was not shit.
Yeah, I was just saying, that's when the MCU was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was not like it's Marvel's thing that it's about to unleash upon the world. Yes. Any case, enough about that.
Yeah, well, he's on about it again. Toby is a dwarf. Look, judge me not by my size, all right?
Well, you know the time profit by now.
One thing that does leave a sort of a bad taste after watching this episode is the Dream Lord's supposed to be the Doctor's sort of dark side, and when you think of it and that character in that context, it becomes ever more creepy because when you have that sequence where it's just the Dream Lord and Amy inside the TARDIS, he sent Rory and the Doctor back, but he's kept her there, and he says, "Ooh, it's just us. Anything can happen." And when he says that, he's topless and he's posing in a chair. That is so many.
It is quite creepy. This is not the version of a Doctor which would have gone to get Rory back.
No, definitely not. Which means, though, if it's his dark side, he was actually thinking about that. That would have been in the back of his mind. Ooh, there you see. Opens too many doors I don't want to walk through.
Shut them all. Shut them all. That's what I say. We've explored the thing.
Disgusting. Walk away from it now.
It's time to move in and get swallowed by the hungry earth.
The hungry earth.
Now, warning. This is a Chibnall script.
Chibs.
Chibs. Now, so, in any case, next episode.
Yeah, that's 9 and 10. And then episode 10. Oh dear.
Yeah, this was. Yeah.
It's just that. Pre-Chibnall era, I would have talked about this story quite happily, but as soon as you come up against something that's been touched by Chibnall, it's like these days.
Yeah.
I'm not actually in the mood to do a synopsis for this per se. Do you want to? I mean, we've all do one, haven't we? But it's like it's the Silurians Mark II.
Yeah.
Only this time it's drilling an experimental borehole rather than a cyclotron power station, which has woken them up. And I think part one's quite effective at establishing the Silurian threat.
Yeah.
I think I do have a big issue with the New Who Silurians having human faces.
Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that at all. No.
I really think it sells them short.
It does.
They should have their ugly reptile faces because
they're reptiles.
That's all part of the difficulty of humans relating to Silurians.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not supposed to look hot with sexy tongues.
No. They're supposed to, yeah.
But I mean, it's Moffat who was guilty of that.
Yeah.
Later, Madame Vastra.
Indeed.
But we're not at Series 7 yet. So, I mean, Series 5, here we are now, and it was introduced for the first time. I felt the humans can't trust them, humans can be manipulated into torturing them, killing them. I found that very contrived.
Yes.
And I mean, it was trying to play the extremist mindsets against each other, of course. And it did do that effectively. And the series, the whole sequence with the Silurians toiling at dark and coming up out of the ground, I mean, that was certainly effective. And the cliffhanger is, of course, getting down there at the end of part one, and suddenly there's a giant Silurian city.
Of course.
Which I think is fine.
Well, yeah, because they would have one. That would make sense.
But I also think part two had nothing new to say about the Silurians whatsoever.
No, nothing at all, really.
And therefore felt a bit perfunctory. There was no attempt to break new ground with them here.
No.
Other than the costume design.
Yeah.
I think that was a shame.
Yeah.
And the end of it, they go back to sleep because it's not time yet. Can't trust humans yet. I suppose that's fair enough.
Fair enough.
I also felt in part two, the use of the big Cardiff building to represent the main hall of the Silurians. I don't think it worked. I just think it looked completely wrong for Silurian City. It should have been dark and, greenish. It shouldn't have been a light, airy, modern space. So, I mean, the habit of the show of adapting real world locations, I just didn't think it worked on this occasion. It was a big space, but it just didn't feel Silurian at all. Got very quiet. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Good. Just checking I hadn't lost this live stream for a moment now. I think Dobby might have nipped out for a sec. So, yeah, as I was saying, I felt that Part 2's location didn't really work for me. Although the studio stuff with the tunnels was really quite effective. And then, of course, it comes out to this shocking ending where just as the Doctor, Amy and Rory are trying to escape from the underground city, and the Silurians are going to go back into sleeping and after fumigating all the hallways, so they need to leave very quickly. And here's the cracking the wall. Only Rory gets devoured by it, while the Doctor shoves his arm in and pulls out what turns out to be a little bit of the TARDIS sign.
Indeed.
So we've got quite a bit of mystery box stuff getting set up at the end of this story.
Yeah.
But it's not connected to the actual plot at all.
No.
So
Yeah.
let's try and over to you, Golden Age. Give me all your thoughts on this.
This is a sort of if you wanted to describe to someone what a Chibnall script is like, this is very much what it is. The humans don't really act as people do. When you have the group gathering inside the church, they're going to secure themselves in the church away from the Silurian threat. You have a kid who starts crying to his mum that he's forgotten his headphones, so they let this child run out into danger to go and get his headphones. That is ridiculous. That wouldn't happen. I mean, you can either get your headphones or you could die. Like, this wouldn't happen.
No, it wouldn't.
Just a moment, everyone. Sadako, to be fair, there isn't anything new to say about the Silurians. Hulk said it all best for once. They weren't really suited to contrive sequels. Well, I'd counter that by going, you don't have to just repeat the resolution to the 70s stories. Why not have the Silurians blast off in a spaceship?
Could do. But
I mean, that's another solution.
Well, yeah, it is really. But I don't know.
And a couple of seasons later, it was established that the Silurians had sent out colony ships.
Yes.
So that would have been a reason they could have gone, we're going to try and find our lost colonies.
Yes.
And maybe some of them will go back to sleep. But then you could have introduced the Silurians as a contemporary spacefaring species.
Could have.
I just top of my head.
Yeah.
I don't accept there's nothing new you could have done with Silurians. But I do recognise that this serial didn't do anything new with them.
Yeah.
So
another missed opportunity again.
Well, it was cheap.
It's cheap.
Anything else to say about this one?
Not really. I'll be honest. Not really.
Well, let's talk about the Rory betting disappeared thing. Did that work?
Kinda. Thing is, it's like because it was in the story that it was in. I don't know. Did it?
Did you believe he was dead?
No, that's
Not
the problem.
for a
I
moment.
didn't. Not for a moment, because he got sucked in. You knew you had this. Well, you knew he hadn't actually died.
Yeah.
So it kind of took the edge off it. I mean, if he died, then yeah, that would have been very poignant.
Died, but sucked into a crack in space and time is a bit of a clue that you're not actually proper dead, isn't it?
Yeah, it says I'm coming back a little bit later.
It's not like a bullet straight to the brain.
No,
less of an argument.
Less of an argument. If he's lying on the floor with half his head across the wall, then there's a good chance he ain't coming back from that. But being
sucked
into a
a
time,
crack in
yeah,
space time, anyone can come back from
yeah,
that.
you know he's going to come back, and that I think that's what took the edge off it, because you knew that he hadn't really died, that he was going to come back at some other time. So,
What about you, Golden Age Geek? How did you react to Rory's death in this episode? Did you?
Well, I didn't think for one moment that he was going to be dead, and it also goes into this idea of it's become a common Moffat trope, and I know this is in a Chibnall episode, but Moffat was overseeing the whole sort of plot arc of the season, so this really falls at Moffat's feet. With Moffat, he does this thing where he sets up a plot element and then he'll do a bait and switch to sort of prove his intelligence to the audience, and you can see this in all of his works, you know, Doctor Who, Sherlock, even Dracula. He sets up a mystery, he will then reveal, you know, the mystery, and then he will go, aha, this is what's really happening. So you've already seen this numerous times throughout this season when you have the 11th hour and this woman, she's actually a grown-up Amy, and then in the Beast Below you have, aha, this alien was offering to transport the human race anyway, and then you have Flesh and Stone where, aha, these random statues are actually weeping angels, and then Amy's Choice you have, this is actually the reality, aha, no it isn't, this is also another dream. So every single episode keeps on sort of, you know, flipping your expectations. So although it's telling you that Rory's supposed to be dead, because of what we've seen with every episode this season, you know that they're going to just pull something out and just reverse the whole thing eventually anyway.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I mean that's a consequence of switching to fairy tale rules, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. That's the problem. That is the problem when you switch to that. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work.
It's got an inbuilt weakness, which has to be handled very carefully, or it can collapse badly. It's that kind of narrative structure.
It is, and this one didn't do very well at all.
All right, let's just score this piece of work.
piece of work it was.
D.
D minus. Didn't like this at all. Really didn't like it.
I would say D.
D. We've D'd it off, everyone.
You've well and truly D'd it off.
Right, is there anybody who wants to stand up for this pile of tribalisms?
No, I think the best we got so far.
Nobody's been daring to stand up for his pile of tribalisms.
A 3 out of 10 by Sadako, and that's only 3 purely because of Karen Gillan's incredible performance after Rory's death, which I have to agree. Absolutely brilliant then.
You can't fault the actors for material they've been served up.
No, but she did really. That was very good.
And what makes it better is Karen Gillan had to switch her performance immediately because you have Rory dying, and then because he goes into the crack, Amy forgets about him. So she goes from being a crying mess to immediately not knowing why she's crying, and then turning happy straight away.
Yeah,
that's extraordinary.
It is a brilliant piece of acting.
It just shows you why Karen Gillan is just extraordinary talent, and to think she started off as the second cultist girl on the left in Fires of Pompeii.
Exactly, just shows you.
Yeah,
the talent's there, and she's a very talented actress.
Talent really will shine through. Yes,
always does.
So we could move on.
We can.
And you know, if you're looking for a place to stay, you can ask our mate Gareth Roberts to write you a script, and he'll write you the lodger.
Yes.
No, we are out. No, we've just gone over the biggest one.
You just missed the best one ever.
I'm sorry, everybody. Oh no!
How dare you walk past this one?
Mess that up.
How could you possibly walk past Vincent and the Doctor? Oh my God! Oh my dear Lord! No, you can't walk past that one. Not the best one ever.
I don't know. I just wanted to say the words Gareth Roberts, obviously.
How can you skip Vincent and the Doctor?
Sorry, I'm
genius piece of work.
I'm completely broken Gobby's heart now because
that's my favourite one.
Dear. I just chalked it up, everyone. Sorry, Vincent and the Doctor.
Yes, that one.
Bloody hell, it's fantastic. Some flowers. Well, look, of course, this was Richard Curtis.
It was.
Of Blackadder scripting fame.
It was. This is sublime.
turning in a script for the show, and it was an extraordinary, sensitive piece of work.
It really was. It's every bit of this
Um,
is just brilliant.
Beautifully shot, wonderfully acted, an excellent production. The Doctor and Amy meet up with Vincent
Yeah,
because the Doctor is intrigued that there seems to be an alien creature in the window of a painting Vincent did of a church.
indeed.
And upon investigating, it turns out that there is indeed an invisible alien creature that only Vincent can see because of his cognitive divergence.
Yes.
And he teams up with Amy and the Doctor to tackle this creature and render it harmless.
Mm.
And as a reward for that help, the Doctor takes Vincent into the future, into the current day, where he can see an exhibit of his work and see how loved he is and how recognised and respected as an artist. Which is just a cameo from Bill Nighy as the art curator who the Doctor has to express his feelings about from Van Gogh as an artist, and it just melts you.
I'll
It's one
admit,
of the most fantastic performances the show's ever put on screen.
I'll admit, I cried.
It's-
I cried every time I watch that sequence. I get a lump in my throat. It is just brilliant, and the best. What makes it even better is Bill Nighy isn't even credited in the. It's uncredited as Dr. Black. He just comes in, does that awesome performance, and it's like wow, and you just sit at the end of that, and it's one of my favourites. It always sticks there. I just sit there at the end and just go, that's acting. That's just great acting, great writing. It's perfection.
It's one of those stories
Perfection.
which is so good. Is Series 5.
Yeah,
It makes you wonder why we didn't get more like it.
exactly.
Is Series 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10.
Now you thought they'd have learnt that one and thought crack on like that because it was just unbelievable.
It was a transcendent Doctor Who story.
Oh,
Certainly a new Who story to show somebody who's never seen Doctor Who before.
yeah.
If you wanted to try and work him into it gentle, this is the one to go for. Because it will crack the hardest of hearts.
Oh, it does.
It's fantastic. But that's just what I reckon. What do you say, Golden Age Geek?
I think everything about this episode works incredibly well. The monster you have is invisible. You can't really see this creature, which does serve as an allegory for Vincent's depression.
It's very well done when Matt Smith is having his invisible fight with it in the courtyard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But it also, you're right with Vincent Van Gogh the way he was. It's a brilliant way of doing it.
And one line that I've memorized from this episode, and it's not because I've kept on watching this episode constantly to get it. When I watched it once, it stuck with me, is when they go back to the museum in the present day after they've gone to see Vincent, and they find out that he still, unfortunately, ended his own life. And the Doctor says to Amy, life is a pile of good things and bad things. And even though there may be more bad things in that pile, it doesn't mean that those good things didn't matter.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah.
Always a good message. Yes, absolutely.
It's always a brilliant message. But I mean, even the bit when, the monster goes, the Saturn, it's just so well written. And as you said, there are a few Doctor Who episodes that just stick straight in your head, and this is one of them.
It's also about respecting the historical figure.
Of course it does. It does.
Which is another thing that Doctor Who got very wrong in more recent times.
Yes.
But obviously, what Vincent and the Doctor gets right is it's not trying to see Vincent through modern eyes.
No.
It's trying to show modernised Vincent through his eyes.
Yeah.
And juxtapose this fantastic art that you might have seen with the reality of the man who created it.
Yeah.
It's very personal, it's very human, it's quite humbling and also upsetting.
Yeah.
You know, because it also enables people to be put into the headspace of somebody struggling with mental illness,
Yeah.
which obviously got the story a lot of respect.
Yes,
It
it did.
tackled that theme.
Yeah, and he tackled
Um,
it well. Tackled it
Vincent
very
and the
well.
Doctor and the Pandorica Opens were both put up for Hugo Awards.
Yes, they were.
But Pandorica Opens won it, which I think is a bit of a crime, really.
It is because this was this.
This should have
Yeah.
gotten, but there you go.
I mean,
Um,
even casting Tony Curran as Vincent Van Gogh because he looks like him. You know, and it was
yes.
just little things like that. Sometimes just the right thing to do, and it was just perfect. As you can probably tell, I really love this
So,
episode.
you know, it's always good Doctor Who when it challenges the audience.
Yeah,
Uh,
it really does.
which this obviously did, and did very well. And, you know, come away feeling like you learned something. I mean, that's a great achievement. That's way back to Sydney Newman's original mission statement
Yeah,
of the series. So,
it was just.
why did we not get Richard Curtis back for more? It does not make sense.
Well, that was a question the TARDIS Spider just asked.
Yeah.
Did Richard Curtis have any other Who stories? Sadly, no.
Seems not.
And
Yeah.
Sadako said exactly the same. Sadly, no, we didn't, and it's just a shame because this one was so well written.
Have you any other comment to offer on Vincent and the Doctor, John Mackey?
No, this episode is just absolutely phenomenal, and it's easily one of the most emotional ones. And again, whenever I watch that scene as well, it always puts a tear in your eye. It does. And there are few Doctor Who episodes that do that, but there are those rare ones that when they do, they just leave such an impression on you.
Now this was that story. Standout story from season 5.
Yeah, I mean, TARDIS Spider gets it right there. This did not challenge the audience; it grabbed it by their heart.
It did not let go.
No, it really didn't. It was such a good episode. So awesome.
Well, let's make this simple. A plus plus plus.
A plus 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 plus.
Highest
plus,
score I've ever given an episode. I will give this story right here, right now.
This is without doubt.
Very high watermark. Very high point.
Without doubt, this is my all-time favourite Doctor Who episode by far.
Woohoo!
It really is. It's just perfection for me. I just love it. So as high as it can go. How about you, Golden Age Geek?
I will say A plus to the power of 9 recurring.
Wow! Brilliant. Well, there you go. Tiny Spider A plus plus plus. Sadako 8 out of 10.
It sounds like we just broke the rating system, basically.
This one does. In fact, this one shouldn't be on the rating system.
Warp 9.999999.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Who, and there's this one. But that's my personal point of view. I just absolutely love this one. And now we can go.
I get a lodger.
To the lodger.
Boy. Oh dear. Filler stories and how to write them by Gareth Roberts.
Yeah, indeed.
He's got a lot of intriguing ideas in this one.
It's a clever idea.
Because there's an invisible time machine pretending to be the upper story of a building. But the impact of it operating screws up the TARDIS landing procedure, which Doctor had already stepped out of the TARDIS before that happened, leaving Amy stuck in the TARDIS, which is lost in the vortex and can't materialise, and the Doctor having to somehow rescue her.
Yes.
So you can't do that just standing around in the street. So what does he do? He gets a room.
Of course.
And he answers an advert put out by Craig, who has the flat downstairs from where this alien spaceship is. Perfect place to move and investigate. So that's exactly what the Doctor does.
Yes.
So, James Corden.
Yes.
Now, in 2023, James Corden's probably fair to say he's probably considered one of the most insufferable pricks on television.
Yeah, aiming to that.
He's got his Hollywood show. He's over in the United States, and you know he's up to his neck in all that. We don't really see him around anymore. He's not that boy who made good on a comedy show no more. So he's a bit of a funny figure, really. But he came on to Doctor Who to do the Lodger and the follow up the next year, and as far as it goes, you know, light-hearted episode, comedic interactions with Matt Smith, brilliant footballing. You know, there's a lot of fun in this story, and the whole Craig and his girlfriend thing. If you like Craig and his girlfriend things, then the writing there is really quite light and wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, so Gav's got a good grasp on his character interactions. Just a moment, Gobby. I'm just going to mute.
Oh, good hell. Yeah. Hello. What's happened?
We just hand over to Golden Age Geek for a couple of minutes.
Yes, it's okay. It all went dead. Can you still hear me, Golden Age Geek? Because I've gone dead. Yeah, that's okay. I just went silent for a minute then. I was like, what's happened? I thought he killed the stream. Press the wrong button. Wow. Any case, so let's have your views on this one, on the Lodger.
This episode is also one that you just switch your brain off and have fun with. It's not one that's going to, you know, break records. It's not going to be the most amazing story, but it does put the Doctor in the most human of situations, and watching him trying to adapt to human life is really funny. One scene that, again, because every Doctor Who story, even if it's not the greatest, there's always a scene or two that always sticks with me. The one that sticks with me in this one is when they're playing football and the team come over to talk to the Doctor, and he says, like, oh, we're going to kill them. And he goes, you're not going to kill anyone. I'm the Doctor. I'm here to protect everyone. He went, and you just meant about the game of football, didn't you?
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, it's the way he said that was awesome. But I'm the Doctor. You're not killing. Yeah, you're right. It did have its moments. As we've said before, they all do have their moments. It's just... this was a filler for me, and I suppose it was okay.
Everybody knows it's a filler. We're not denying. No one's denying it's a filler.
Yeah, it's just.
But it's interesting because it was actually foreshadowing stuff that was going to come out in Series 6.
Yeah, it was really, wasn't it?
Because this time machine, very clearly a silence time machine.
Yes.
So I don't think it's really made clear enough what the Silence were doing, messing about, trying to make their own TARDISes. It seems like a lot more should have been made of someone trying to gain the power of time travel.
Yeah.
But all very intriguing, and I felt the whole perception filter thing, and trying to find the right mind to act as its pilot. I mean, I thought that was already quite good, spooky, ooky science fiction stuff. So, you know, it just depends if the blend of elements here is really your kind of sandwich.
Well, this is it, isn't
but
it?
I don't think there's anyone going to put this in an A level.
Oh no!
Stories, you know. It's really a question of, is it a D, a B, or a C?
I suppose it depends on how much you've switched your mind off when you're watching it. To be fair,
what do you reckon, Golden Age Geek? Does the football action, like banter and quips, elevate this?
I think I would say around, like, I would put it around a B, because although some other episodes may be objectively better, this is one that you can always put on if you just want to switch your mind off, just have a little bit of fun. So that element of it works really well, and I think that does appeal to a lot of people, and especially, of course, with this series, Moffat was trying to get a whole new audience. Of course, it became big over in America, so you do need some of those episodes that are going to resonate well with all audiences, and I think everyone can find some enjoyment in this episode.
Yeah, there are moments in it. Yeah,
and one moment that also, when it first aired, I know a lot of people were talking about this, and especially in forums and fan discussions, is that a lot of people, when season 6 started, they thought that the room, which would go on to be operated by the Silence in series 6, people thought that it was just a reused set